Hey everyone, taking a look at something unusual today. This is the Anker Prime mystery box, and it's far larger and more ornate than most other mystery boxes that I've seen. In fact, it's clear they put a lot of attention to the design of the packaging here. It almost reminds me of an oversized computer, but actually it's based on a design of one of their new docking stations called the TB5, which will be coming out soon, featuring Thunderbolt 5 support that can drive 8K displays, offering transfer speeds up to 120 gigabits per second and up to 140 watts for charging laptops. So that's the design inspiration for the packaging here and why we see some of the ports labeled on the side of the box. Basically, it's a blown up version foreshadowing the design of that docking station. Pretty cool, I have to say. And obviously we have the Anker logo here on the very top, but let's discover what other secrets are inside of this mysteriously large box. Well, you might be guessing it's the docking station on the inside, but actually no, true to the mystery box form, there are 8 mystery items from Anker inside of here, because this box was created as a limited time gift to support that product's launch, and you can actually get this box yourself in 2 ways. The first method is if you do purchase the Prime docking station, you can participate on a quiz, and if you achieve a higher score, you'll be eligible to win one of these boxes. The second way is just to follow Anker on social media. As reference, I'll provide some of those links and instructions in the description box below. Essentially, all of these mystery boxes are being given away, again, as a mystery gift. So it'll be interesting to see what we received. Anyways, on top we have a black envelope, describes what the Anker Prime design is. A warranty support card is also underneath here, presented quite nicely. Then down underneath the first foam layer, we can see some of the smaller compartments. And actually there is a card on top that tells you what are all of the possible items that can be in the box. But keep in mind, like any mystery box, you'll get a random selection. So not all of these items will be inside of one box. Instead, it'll be 8 of these random ones. But this provides us with a rough idea of what some of the possible products that you can receive would be, as well as their official retail price if sold separately, since Anker is a charging brand at the end of the day. There's also going to be a Anker Prime 20,000 milliamp hour capacity power bank at 200 watts, certain MagSafe accessories, as well as a tablet stand with some USB and charging capabilities. I think these two, though, are probably going to be the highest value items out of the bunch, and it'll be interesting to see if we received any of those two. So let's start with the largest box on the first layer here. There's a question here that says, do you know the difference between a hub and a docking station? So a hub is more compact, typically used to add more ports and I/O, compared to a docking station, which can offer more advanced functions, even more connections. And this box is relatively large and heavy, so take your best guess. From the list that we saw there earlier, I'm thinking it might be the tablet stand hub, or maybe the power bank since it is a larger box. But 3, 2, 1, popping it open, and indeed, I can confirm that it is the 551 tablet stand/hub. So this 8-in-1 dock or stand is actually very well built out of aluminum unibody, as well as some soft touch rubber padding here to prevent the tablet from sliding around. And you're able to connect it using USB Type-C for charging, as well as a full-size HDMI for display output, 2 full-size USB Type-A ports at 3.0 speeds, a headphone jack, as well as a full-size SD card and micro SD card reader as well. Feet at the bottom here prevents it from sliding around on a table or surface. So you can actually use it in this just kind of wedge or triangle shape, maybe if you're just using it for drawing purposes, and you're able to just pop it open like so. Plus we can further elevate the angle here from the back. So there's kind of a 2-stage motion, or of course into a much taller elevation that might be more comfortable if you're trying to pop it up at eye level. When getting some work done, it might look something like this instead. It actually is a pretty stable, again, tablet stand because the entire thing is just crafted out of a solid chunk of metal. And then we're able to, again, adjust the angle relatively easily, more forward versus back, as well as tilt it further up and down as well on this particular axis until we get it into a comfortable position for work or for watching videos. And again, simultaneously allowing us to connect to external keyboards, thumb drives, accessories, charge it back up. In fact, let's try popping in an SD card here. And success, confirming that I'm able to read back the files from this SD card that I can transfer over to this iPad for viewing, working surprisingly well. And again, that notch at the bottom means that we can also use it in the portrait orientation if we wanted to, and it still is fully functional. So I can confirm that this is a very well designed 8-in-1 multifunctional tablet stand, feeling quite premium, and again, the SD card readers are also spring assisted. That being said, the full-size SD card slot will extend out from the hub just a little bit more, similar to other compact hubs we've seen. It doesn't go all the way in, unlike the micro SD card slot, which does fully retract. So if they could make this cavity a little bit deeper for the full-sized SD card, that would be even better, but overall, still working quite nicely. Also, even though this is designed primarily for larger tablets, you can of course still use it with your smartphone as well, since it's all going to connect using USB Type-C these days anyways, in addition to smaller tablets as well, like an iPad mini can of course still be held here really without any problems. That being said, if you're looking at laptops, it might not be quite as ideal because the surface area here is still a little bit smaller for a full-size laptop. Even so, because it is built extremely well, very sturdy, here it is demoing a laptop just for fun, and you can tell that it is surprisingly still functional. So if you have a thinner and lighter computer, it can still probably work here with the hinge. If you did want to adventure with that, and again use it for charging if you have Type-C, as well as transferring files, connecting to external keyboards and accessories. I like it. It is a pretty multifunctional and robust 8-in-1 tablet stand. So I'm pretty happy about this first random draw in the mystery box. Next one here has a statement, do you know what HDMI is? So it's a standard interface used to connect to external monitors, TVs, and projectors with different protocols that can support various refresh rates for resolutions. HDMI 2.1 can support up to 8K versus 2.0 is 4K. So my guess is this is probably containing some type of HDMI hub, but no, actually in this box we received the Anker Prime 67-watt GAN wall charger. So I guess the questions on the back of the box don't always correlate one-to-one with the item inside. It's just a general question or theme that's going on, and it really is just random luck of the draw in terms of what you will receive. But still, this is a pretty powerful ultra mini charger that can fit in the palm of your hand. But despite that, at 67 watt, it can charge much larger, even tablets, as well as laptops without too many problems. And it has 3 ports, so there are 2 USB Type-C, as well as a third full-size USB Type-A, which is going to be a little bit slower at around 22.5 watts. That being said, if you want the fastest charging speed to get 67 watts, you would ideally plug in one device using the Type-C port. Just keep in mind that if you're plugging in 3 cables simultaneously, that 67 watt will be split across those 3 ports, so each device will be charging a little bit more slowly. But it's still nice to have this versatility, and I like the fact that the prongs can fold down for easier transit when you are on the go, built out of this matte plastic with some interesting accents running across it as well, making it look a little bit more visually interesting. Again, it's all powered by GaN or gallium nitride, which makes it possible to achieve these faster charging rates in newer generation chargers, despite being really compact. Continuing our unboxing, the next one is a much smaller box, very light. This one says, do you know what USB-C is? It's a protocol that supports charging, data transfer, display, and this time around it is a pretty close match to that question. It's a USB Type-C to Type-C cable, which is braided and rated at 240 watts for fast chargers, and it's also rated for over 300,000 bends and stretches for this braided cable, so it should be quite durable in terms of the build. The heads here are built out of metal and apparently also built out of some sustainably recycled materials as well for eco-friendliness. There's also a cable fastener attached to the cable to prevent it from tangling up, and just popping it into a device here, we can verify that indeed charging will begin very quickly, supporting quick charging as well as data transfer as well. Final item in the top compartment really does feel like a haul for this mystery box. Next question here is, do you know what DisplayPort is? So this is also used for connecting to monitors that can support faster refresh rate and higher resolution, good for professional use, acting as an alternative to HDMI or Type-C. So in this one, it's actually not directly related to DisplayPort per se, but it's the Anker MagGo. So it's a MagSafe accessory, also compatible with Qi 2 and also magnetic stickers that you may have on a phone case for Android devices. You can just stick on here onto the back. And this is an SD card reader hub for the phone. So you're able to pop off the magnetic lid, and on the side here is where you can pop in a full-sized SD card as well as a micro SD card. And on here, there's going to be a pre-included Type-C connector that plugs directly into the phone. So again, this accessory might be helpful if you're commonly working with external media files and you wanted an easier way to transfer those files between the phone and the SD card if you're taking photos or maybe recording lots of 4K or 8K videos from your phone camera. You can use an accessory like this and offering 10 gigabits per second file transfer speeds maximum. Since it is really compact though, it doesn't have room for a full-size USB Type-A port, but that might be the only missing I/O on this design. Although it also has another USB Type-C port on the side here for charging, supporting power delivery. Now onto the second compartment down below the foam. This is the final 4 items. Now if you're wondering why there's 8 items in this mystery box, apparently it's because 8, if you're flipping it onto the horizontal axes, looks similar to the infinity icon. And that means with these charging products, you're able to last through an entire day and longer, allowing you to freely use your phone or tablet without worrying about it running out of power. Let's begin with the tallest box this time around, but it's actually very narrow. Question here is for Thunderbolt, which enables compatibility with even faster data transfer in addition to supporting external graphic cards, compatible with charging display output, and offering, again with Thunderbolt 5, up to 120 gigabits per second maximum. And this time around, we received the 5-in-1 USB hub, so it's more compact using Type-C here, and we're able to add full-size HDMI, 3 USB Type-A ports for keyboards and thumb drives, as well as power delivery for pass-through charging. It is a relatively compact hub in this case that can be easy to take with you if you are traveling, although the cable doesn't really retract into its own chassis, but it is built entirely out of metal, so it feels relatively premium. Again, compatible with pretty much any Type-C computer, tablet, or phone. The second largest box here, and this entire compartment is all a little bit thinner. This one here says, do you know what an audio port is? So this can be a wired 3.5mm jack or an optical audio port. And this time around, we received another dongle, which is converting between USB Type-C to full-sized HDMI. Useful, I guess, if you don't have a full-sized HDMI port on your computer, or if you're trying to connect a phone with display output support or a tablet onto a larger screen TV or monitor with lower latency using a wired connection. But definitely the most simple accessory that we've seen so far. Kind of wish they added maybe a few other I/O or a 3.5mm headphone jack. That would have been nice, but overall still is well built out of this braided nylon wire as well as metal here for the chassis. Second to last compartment here, and we have a question, do you know what Ethernet is? Used for wired internet connectivity, fastest being 10 gigabits per second Ethernet. And it looks like on this mystery unboxing, we received the HDMI splitter. So we have 2 HDMI ports on the bottom here that we can switch between just by tapping this key. Whereas the one on the front connects directly to your monitor or TV. So this might be useful if you have multiple devices that you want to link to a display, but you have a limited number of HDMI ports on the TV or monitor. This will add a second one without requiring you to unplug the cable into different devices every single time. For example, you can link a computer as well as a gaming console and then easily switch back and forth using this simple one button on the front. The final box here has the question, do you know what USB-A is? So this is a traditional full-size USB interface with the current fastest standard supporting up to 10 gigabits per second data transfer speeds. And on this one, it looks like we received a magnetic cable holder kit. So it's a cable management accessory for better organization, built out of this soft touch rubber finish with a sticky 3M pad on the back that you can attach onto a wall or desk. And then these pieces can be mounted magnetically on the front here once you have a cable attached. So for example, let's pop in a couple of cables here as a demo, again using the magnetic end here, it'll just attach onto this pad. And so in total, you'll be able to hold 5 cables onto a wall or onto a desk and be able to charge those more quickly without the cable kind of falling over every single time, keeping things a little bit more tidy and easily organized. Plus, again, with the magnets, you're able to rearrange the order if you wanted to, kind of handy as a quick accessory. Alright, so those were the 8 items that we received in the Anker Prime mystery box. Again, the 8 that you will receive might be different. For example, some of the items that we didn't see in our specific box were the Anker Prime power bank as well as the Thunderbolt 4 cable, but it's all just luck of the draw. And when you're done, it almost feels like a jigsaw puzzle where some of the pieces there can fit together. Pretty cool. I will say though that the very bottom of the box seems to have a pretty thick padding with the foam. It almost feels like there might be another hidden compartment on the inside here, but actually no, this is just stuck into place. Just super well protected against shipping damage. Anyways, this was a pretty fun unboxing, a little different from what we usually cover, not a full in-depth review per se, but rather, again, just sharing the news. For those interested, you guys can also enter to win one of these mystery boxes as part of that event kind of giveaway that they are running at the moment. So if you want to participate, you can, again, either follow them on social media, or if you are planning on purchasing the docking hub that this is modeled off of, you're eligible to enter a survey to potentially win one of these as well. So check out more details if interested in the links down below, but for now that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. That was our unboxing of the Anker Prime mystery box.